Hey, everybody. Welcome. Jump in wherever you're tuning in from. North, East, Southwest, UK, USA, Africa, Asia, Europe, wherever you are. Tonight is the night. This is our 60-minute show. 60-minute live show, by the way. Yes, there's been a bit of hype. There's been support. Everybody's been sharing. People have been speaking. Thank you so much for those that have supported, commented, spread the word one way or the other. Today is going to be an exciting time. It's going to be a wonderful discussion. I have got my teacup. So get your tea together. T stands for gist, amebo, all those sorts of things, all sorts of talks. But yes, as it says, kindness counts. So of course, if some of you have seen it and you've been following us, that's me, Miss Compassionate, so to speak. But you're going to meet all my sisters, because we are family. Come on, all my sisters and me. So yes, I've got my sisters in the building today. Very soon, sometime in the future, we might not be able to dwell on it today. You will hear about why we have come together. But yeah, we're sisters and we're four and we're the Fantastic Four. And we've got something great for you today. One of many topics to come. But tonight we have chosen to start it off and launch it off with Triggered. And Triggered is based, of course, on a recent event. For those that have clocked, for those who have not clocked, you will soon hear about it later, why we chose Triggered. So, of course, we'll be speaking more about trending topics as time comes along, and women issues and male issues and all the fancy la-di-da topics that need to be brought more to awareness. Not the ones that we hear and see on social media for a couple of seconds and get swept under the carpet. We are resurrecting what gets swept under the carpet and talking about it tonight because it needs to be dealt with. Of course, it doesn't finish here. It's a topic to continue talking about and talking more and more about so people are brought more to the awareness. And very soon, hopefully, there'll be a stop to what we're going to talk about today. But yes, we are triggered, highly triggered by something that took place over the recent weeks. Stay tuned, guys. You're going to see a lot more about it. But let's welcome on board some of my family that are going to introduce themselves, my sisters that are closely bonded, the winning sisters, and everybody else that's tuning in. But please, once again, share this video. Share this video so other people can tune in. Share this video so other people can know about Girl Say It that launches today. Girl Say It is all about the opinion of a girl. Big girl, little girl, whatever it is. We're going to say and support each other and say, girl, you say it. Girl, you have a point right there. Girl, let your voice be heard. Yes, tonight. Okay, from tonight, it will be heard. But yep, the girls are going to jump in right now. We're going to have a nice discussion for the next 60 minutes. Stay tuned, guys. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Greetings and good evening to you all from wherever you're streaming in from. I'd just like to say a huge thank you for joining us live today on our first ever live show, actually. So I'm really excited. And I just want to say thank you for all the love and the support that you've shown us through the couple of weeks that we've been promoting, and even the last few days we've been promoting like crazy. And sorry, disturbing your timeline, but for a good reason. Absolutely. So my name is Sheena. I'm also known as Miss Rolo05 on Instagram, and also on Facebook I'm named Queenie Bernice. So please follow me, please like, please share, please add your comments to today's session. We would like to hear some feedback as well, and all feedback is useful because we want to improve this show. We want to make sure that you're entertained, that you have all the information you need on trending topics, on some real life topics as well. So stay tuned, guys, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy the rest of the show.
Hi, everyone. I'm Winnie Irvine, aka The Rebel. Thank you so much to everyone that's taken the time to support us, that shared our links, that has reposted our things. We really love and appreciate you. That's what it's all about. So I hope you guys are ready to get up close and personal. Grab your mugs, because it's tea time.
I've got mine. Hi, everyone, and welcome to our discussion today. We are so happy to have you here. I can already see you in the comments, popping off, showing your love. We really appreciate you. Thank you for all the support that you've shown over the last few days. We have been promoting like crazy, as was already said. We hope that you enjoyed the discussion today, and we hope that you are well informed. We are going to be going into the comments and expecting feedback and engagement from you guys. So definitely feel free to contribute. We will be acknowledging what you're saying. Other than that, I think it's time to get started. So come on, girls, let's start this thing.
Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Yes, that's right, lads. That's right. That's right. So, yep, that's all of us here from the UK, here from the far Middle East, here from Germany. Today we come bonding. But as she said, let's get started. Now, let's talk about why we are triggered, girls. Why are we triggered? Why are we triggered? Right, you're about to find out now. Stay tuned.
No,
Woo-woo.
no, it's not okay, Barbara. It's not okay. You cannot defend him. It's not okay.
Call the cops.
Do you see what he just did? No, Barbara. No, Barbara, I'm tired of you. No, I'm tired of you now. No, absolutely not. Do you? I know that. I understand. I get it.
We are not going to calm down. We are not going to fucking calm down. I came in here and I told you sit back. I told you we are not here to argue with you. Why did you fucking attack her? Why did you attack her?
Can you come down?
I'm not going to come down because you started this.
Here, let me go.
You're going to go to the other room and you're not going to come out.
Barbara, what about that one?
Fuck you up. I'm telling you.
Barbara, that folder.
That's the divorce document.
Get up and go to your fucking room.
No,
I don't know what the fuck is wrong
Barbara,
with you.
move.
Keep acting up, I'll fuck you up. No, try me.
All right.
Try me.
Okay.
Try me. All right. Try me.
No, it's all right. Why? It was unnecessary.
Don't give him the chance to bring these things.
Don't do that, Barbara. What if you came here by yourself?
You spoiled yourself, right? But isn't this the same sister that you fucked up? What did I fuck up about my sister? What did I fuck up about my sister?
Perry, what did I tell you? Let him go in the room. Perry.
Perry, leave him alone.
You should go. We don't need this right now.
Okay. All right. But you are the same person who supported me at the wedding, right?
I will fuck you at the wedding because you were fake. You were fake. You were lying.
Perry.
You were fake. You and everybody that follows you. You were fake. I supported you because I thought you were different.
So now you
I thought you
are
are not like your family.
support your sister.
Yes, I'm here to support
The
my
same
sister.
sister
And I'll
who
always
the
support
pastor
her.
told you that she was a witch.
Which pastor?
Am
Name
I
that
right?
pastor. Name that pastor. Which pastor told me my sister's
The
name?
same sisters.
Which pastor? Name the pastor. Is it you? You are a pastor. You. You don't know whether you are or not you are a pastor, my friend. Get the fuck out of here before I fuck you up. We didn't come here for you. We did not come here for you. Don't let me hurt you. Leave. We didn't come here for you. We came to get something.
Can I promise you something?
Promise me.
If I don't kill your sister, then me, I am fake.
You got the video, right?
Yeah, I got
Right,
it.
call the cops.
No, it's
No, call the cops, Jen. No.
Barbara,
Fanya.
stop that.
Fanya, you don't play with threats like this. Jen, I'm calling the cops. No, you don't play with threats. Please call the cops.
only going to escalate.
It should escalate. He's threatening you in front of me. He said he's going to kill you. What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for?
All right, just make sure it's there so we can go. If that's it, let's go. Let's just get the hell out of here.
Is it it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Make sure it's... Let's get out of here. We ain't coming here no more, Barbara. You lost all
You heard what he said?
Is there anything else you need to get? Barbara, we're done.
Whatever you want to get.
Yeah, we're done. Oh, you lost all this.
No, I'm going to come back for it.
You gonna come back for what? No, it's okay. It's okay, Barbara. It's another debt that can be paid off. Debt is debt. You cannot replace debt with life, and vice versa. It's gone. This ain't yours no more. Imagine if you come here by yourself.
Even with us over here, he still attacked you. Fabian, don't play with these things.
Why is this a
You
joke to
may not
you?
want to have him arrested, but you have to make a
don't want
police
to.
report. You have to have a police report for future sake. The police need to make a report.
No, I'm gonna use
Because
this so you can get a restraining order.
Yeah,
You-
and make sure he's not coming in. Can you come look for my glasses, Fabian? Look for my glasses so I can make sure he's not coming in.
Okay, guys. So some of you would have heard about that before. Some of you may have seen it on your social media, one place or the other, either on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube or just on trending news, wherever you've seen it from. But this actually happened. So there's power in the tongue. This guy said he's going to kill his wife, hence why we're triggered, and we put the gun there as a symbol. And some of you may have clocked into the topic that we may be talking about today. And indeed, did he mark his words? He killed his wife. For those of you who may not have known about it, for those of you who've just put the thoughts in the back of your head, let's bring it back again. He killed his wife. Not only did he shoot her once, he shot her 7 times, and he shot her in her head. How much anger can a person possibly have that he didn't just shoot like it was an accident? He actually stood over her and shot into somebody, not just into somebody. Come on, let's talk now. Into his wife's head. Now, we know about domestic violence. Now, we know about abuse, and there's all sorts of abuse. There's emotional abuse, there's physical abuse, and we know about people getting triggered to the point of anger, but anger to the point that you'll kill your wife so maliciously. And then on top of that, not only from a man, but then we're now talking about a man of God. Now, I know that some of our fellow Christians don't like to discuss or open these topics, and that is dangerous as far as I'm concerned. We like to shield it and make it look like, oh, it's nothing. You know, God will deal with him at his own time. But no, this is an awareness that needs to be brought out, because a lot of women are struggling, are dealing with this.
Yep.
Christians and non-Christians. And sometimes we like to facade it with the church, but women are dealing with these issues. Pastors are dealing with these issues. Their wives are dealing with these issues. And for some reason, people like to tread carefully and not address it. This man did wrong, and he did more than wrong. That is the fact. He went a step, in fact, many steps too far.
He crossed the line.
Exactly. But what actually triggered him is the sense of this topic. What could trigger a man to that point? Is he possessed? Really? Would we say that the devil drove him to do that? Really? No. What really possessed him? A man that will go on the altar and preach a word, a man that will go on the altar and pray for people, a man of God that will go and counsel people, will still go and domestically beat up his wife at home. Is there really a reason that can justify domestic abuse? Come on, guys, let's talk about it.
You know what? Honestly, Lady T, you have like nailed the head, and then hit the nail on the head. I mean, this is something that we have to talk about. We have to talk about it. We can't just ignore it. We can't just say it's another case of domestic violence. We can't look at it as just another case of black on black, whatever, or marital issues or whatever. We can't just sweep it under the rug. We must talk about it, and we must call this out as absolutely wrong. The truth is, we actually don't care what she did. We don't care what she did. For all of those asking and wondering, oh, what could she have done that could have led to this? That's fine if you want to think about that. But as for us, and as for why we're triggered, we don't care what she did. What we do know is this guy decided to shoot up this woman for whatever reason. And first of all, it's wrong. You don't do that to people. But to someone that you took vows with, you said for better or worse. How? When? And as a so-called man of God, what happened? What happened? What happened to you? Not what did the woman do? What happened to you? What happened to you when you said that you were a Christian, when you made a vow to God and that you would serve God, when you declared that you were a prophet of God? What happened?
Right.
This is unacceptable, and we don't care. We don't care what led up to it. We don't care what the backstory is. Mm-hmm. What we do know is that this guy went up to his wife's workplace, well, about to be ex-wife, because the divorce proceedings were going to be in place. So the divorce was already getting finalized. So they were about to end it anyway. That tells us even a bit more about the promise that he made to the sister's brother when he said that if I do not kill your sister, I'm not a man of God. The divorce was already in place. He could have left it. If he did not want to be with her that much, then let the divorce kick in, let them separate, whatever. But for you to now go out, say that, and go out and actually do that, no, this is completely unacceptable. There's no reason, there's no good reason for it. There's no reason for it, I beg. This guy, we're calling it out as wrong behavior. We are calling him out today, if no one has already said it, as wrong behavior. Wrong behavior.
That's right. and an example to many others as well. You know, it's not just about him, because many others are probably hiding in the background. They come in the altar and they're completely different people at home. But it's not just about the preachers. We're calling out all men that think that it's okay to domestically abuse your wife or your partner or your spouse. And for us that are from African origin, we know that it's very prominent in Africa, to be honest, and even back home in Nigeria, it's now become normalized for that kind of thing to happen, you know, and we've had to accept it as a society that a man, because he's more domineering, because he's the head of your home, you have done something wrong as a wife, you deserve to be beaten, you know, like the famous question, and I think someone put it in the comments, like, why do people always ask, what did the woman do? Like, why do they always ask that question? What about what did he do? Because at the end of the day, he did something very wrong at this instance. But let's hear from others. Let's hear from the other ladies. Rolo, Winnie, what do you have to say about the video that's trending? I mean, we've heard from a bit from Anders Slays, but let's talk about this. Like, what could possibly trigger a person at that point?
I've got so much to say, but you know, apart from the comment that you mentioned that people say about the woman, what people also say is, oh, why didn't she leave? Why? I don't understand why she couldn't just leave. But what I think people don't understand is that most of the time it becomes almost critical, or most of the time it ends up in things like murder, when the woman actually makes steps to leave. It's the final phase that becomes the most dangerous for a woman in any domestic violence situation.
Right.
So let's just remember that. Another thing as well is that when domestic violence happens, it happens in very intimate and long-term relationships, meaning that it's a psychological abuse first, then it becomes a physical one. And when it's a psychological abuse, it takes a whole nother dynamic to actually even realize that you're in an abusive situation, first of all, but also to go into a new frame of mind in order to leave. Because let's not forget, family that's advising you, friends that are advising you, they're not in your home. That guy is in your home.
Girl, say it.
Say it.
So I think we need to really call that out. And we need to also call out what kind of support needs to be offered. Because then pointing at the woman saying, oh, she could have simply left a long time ago. No, these are deep psychological violence, and then it becomes physical violence. So that's the first one. The second point is about titles as well. Titles, I don't care if you guys think that I'm being controversial here, but I'm going to say it. Titles in the church, how are they controlled? How are they monitored? Who ordained him? When did he get ordained? How fast was he ordained? And I think that the church, being an institution in itself, needs to have some kind of control and organization. Because my question is, did he ordain himself as a prophet? Did he?
Right.
And if he ordained himself, he put that title on himself in order for everybody else around to respect him and to listen to him. And to me, that's a form of dominance and control in itself.
That's right.
Right. Right.
Rolo, over to you.
Yeah, I mean, my sisters, I've heard everything you said, and I completely agree 100%. I'm so like disturbed by this topic, and you know, it's not something that's new to us. We've heard this over and over again. It's so common, you know, it's so common, and I think a lot of people have been victims of domestic violence, and you know, it comes in so many forms. It's like you said, you know, it starts off like with the psychological, you know, the mind control. And then it turns into something physical. And what disturbs me the most is that, you know, a lot of us overlook subtle like red flags when they first appear in relationships. Like I'll give you an example. For example, like you could be with a guy who's quite like, he gets quite aggressive and heated at even the littlest of a disagreement. And then the next thing you know, he's there smashing cups and breaking stuff. But he's not physically hitting you, but he's, you know, causing the very volatile, you know, environment, volatile sort of like, you know, situation. And it's like, okay, fine, he's not hitting you, but does that mean that he's not a violent person? Does it mean that he's not capable of domestic violence? That's one of the things. I believe that God always shows us signs and red flags. And as women, you know, we're so like forgiving, we're so caring, and we kind of overlook these things because of, I don't know what you can call it, love or infatuation, or, you know, oh, he didn't mean it. It was me, it wasn't him, you know? And I think that's where that education needs to come in, that, you know, we need to be able to recognize red flags and pay attention to it and don't ignore it, because I think this is what has led up until this, you know, unfortunate event. And, you know, it's like, it didn't just happen in a day. Rome was not built in a day. There's always layers and layers and layers to these things. And it's so unfortunate that we've had, you know, this circumstance. And I, you know, my heart really goes out to the family. And, you know, we just need to make sure that it's not just women that can go through domestic violence, by the way. Let's be clear on that.
That's
as
true.
well.
Yeah, that's very true.
Girl power and female empowerment, but also men go through this. And I think that needs to be highlighted as well, is that anybody can be victims of domestic violence. And it doesn't have to be just physical. It can also be like, you know, emotional abuse as well. There's so many forms of domestic violence. And I'm so glad that we're using our forum to discuss this and highlight it, because it is a problem, not just within our community as Africans, but, you know, across the globe. It's an issue, it's a pandemic. And, you know, I don't know if you've heard recently, but there's been reports that, especially during this COVID lockdown, you know, we're all stuck in the house like prisoners. I face you and you face me. And there's tension. There's tension. You can't go out for a walk, you know, if you've had an argument with your partner, you can't go out for a walk and have a breather. And so you can imagine like the tension and the environment that's there. It can be really, really toxic, and, you know, it can lead to the worst case of situations. Like domestic violence statistics have gone up just during lockdown alone. You see what I'm saying? And, you know, my heart really goes out to the family, and you know, let me just continue to drink my chamomile tea, because I'm so triggered. Like,
let's go to the comments, ladies. Let's go to the comments. We've got Sister Evelyn. And she's saying, and it's painful that the church is saying, well, there's two sides of the story.
Exactly.
Maybe she cheated, blah, blah. Was like really always blaming the woman. I mean, on most occasions, it's always the woman. What did she do? What did she do? Go ahead, Levine.
Exactly. And at what point do we justify killing someone? Because to me, that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
So let's step back a bit.
Let me just say,
her family's shoes, for example. Would you go as a family member? Would you then say, "Oh, you know, it's because she did this or this"? I'm sorry, but I don't justify death.
It doesn't justify it justify it at all. And you know what? I think that he's been arrested, and I think they're going to go for first-degree murder. Which, correct me if I'm wrong, all the lawyers out there. I think that's 25 years plus in the States, right? Yeah. If it's first-degree murder, don't quote me on that, but I think that they're going to go for the toughest sentencing, and he deserves it. To be fair, he deserves it.
That's right. So
but we can't ignore them flags.
Yeah,
ladies, let's go into these comments. These comments are popping off. So Sophie, Golda Reginald, I've heard people say that a one-off hit is okay. You can work through that.
This is what I'm saying. The red flags.
Come on. I mean, come on. Let's see what else is here.
Yes.
And you know what? It's a difficult one as well. You know,
doesn't justify.
It's difficult.
So it doesn't justify. I'm going to go through as many comments as I can.
But you know, for me,
when you're done,
what we're viewing there is an extreme case, right? And people shouldn't use that as a measuring stick to leave their relationships. What I think we should talk about and highlight is that there's forms of domestic violence, and I think Ms. Rolo mentioned this, in many different types of ways. So please don't use the video as a point of reference.
Exactly.
As a point of reference is use your intuition. Is the person controlling your spending habits? Do you have a say?
Financial abuse, we got that there in the comments.
And it's all about control. And Ms. said as well.
Let me just go through these. So we've got Toller as well saying one thing about domestic violence is it's all about control. And Levine, you touched on that early, how it starts. You've got to notice, you know, when it starts, and Miss Rolo said as well, noticing the red flags, they're so important. Again, we're not just talking about the video or this particular case, we're talking about domestic violence in general, domestic abuse in general. We're not just here to call out one man and a family and one home. We're talking about in general how you can identify these issues before they even become something that you have to experience. So we've got Susan as well. African homes emphasize divorce being bad. In a case like this, I mean, come on. Where are we? Yeah, it's seen as a shameful. It's seen as shameful, and often this means that there aren't the support systems that allow for the abused person to leave. Thank God that she had her brother there. Girl, say it. Say it. I have to say, just to slide in there, when I saw her brother there, I was so happy for her, because like the other woman said in the video, I'm not sure if that was her sister, what if they were not there?
Right.
Because what if they were not there? Can you imagine what would have happened? But because they were there, we actually have this video. We have this video to talk about and create further awareness. It's sad that, you know, it's their own personal story that has to be used. And my heart really does go out to the family. This is not an opportunity to, you know, create a following or to, you know, brand ourselves. We are really concerned about it. And as we said from the very beginning, this is just something that we feel needs to be discussed. Over to you.
Yes. So let's take it back a bit. You know, I mean, I was hearing something about how people were saying, or someone actually made a comment who is quite well known, and people do follow that. And she put a label and she said, of course, people will say he's a man of God because they want to put negativity onto Christianity. That is exactly the comment she said. So people are going to use the man of God factor because it's going to be a way of dragging Christianity. What do we have to say about comments like that? You know? At the end of the day,
go ahead, Levine. Go ahead, Ms. Rebel. I'm gonna speak after. I'm cool. Go ahead.
At the end of the day, even if we want to cover it up and say that he's not or he was, that's the office that he was operating in, you know, and that's what the video showed. That's what Trending News showed. It was a man of God. We can't even say that that wasn't the case. He was a prophet or pastor or Ghanaian pastor, you know, maybe not in our eyes. We don't want to see him like that now because his business has been aired out. But we can't dismiss the facts that people operate in these titles, and this is what they do in their home, and they're a completely different person in the church. And it's not just about that, like we're talking about. It goes across the board of all sorts of abuse, financial abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse. These are very common across every culture that I'm sure most people can say, from Asian to African to British. Every culture has this trending inside when it comes to abuse. But because we're narrowing it down to this video now, just based on what I said, calling this guy a man of God. Now we want to remove that title conveniently because we don't want it to be associated with Christianity. But we cannot ignore the fact that it does happen. And it does happen to people that operate in that office and their wives. They have a lot of domestic violence in the church, Christian couples, non-Christian couples as well, you know. So guys, I think we should touch a bit more on triggers, because obviously we've called this triggers. Like, is there any justification? And now, like Levine said earlier, this is quite an extreme yardstick to measure because he obviously shot his wife. But let's forget about shooting. What about abusing with emotional abuse? What about abusing with physical violent abuse? Is there anything that will warrant a man to be able to lift his hands or emotionally abuse his wife? Because obviously some people try to justify it, like they were trying to say with this woman, even though we know because it's too much shooting. But people try to justify it and say she was cheating. She was sleeping with other men.
Then let her go. What's there?
Where is the line that women should draw and be like, you know what, enough is enough. I'm not having this anymore. I'm walking. This warrants a divorce. At what point? At what point can it ever be justified that a man can attack back at his woman? Is it when the woman is slapping him? Should he respond back? That's a trigger. Or would we not say that's a trigger? It may be a trigger, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's justified. Is it when she's cussing him, pushing his head, and then he now flips back his hand? Is that justified trigger as a reaction?
What?
I think, yeah, sorry to go on, go ahead.
Is it she
go
bashes
ahead,
a ball
go
on his
ahead.
head and he tries to strangle her? Is that justified triggers? Because some women are violent too, yo. That's the truth, you know. And then sometimes there must be something that leads to these kind of things. Not the shooting, like I said, that's too far, but like the emotional abuse or the physical abuse. There are certain triggers that some people try to justify with it. Are they actually justified when you really dig
Never.
deep?
There's no. I mean, I don't think that abuse is abuse. First of all, abuse is abuse. Violence is violence. There's no two ways about it. No one should be violent to anyone. No one should be abusing anyone. So whether it's the woman that started it or the man that started it, again, we don't. That's not what what we should be caring about. The issue is there shouldn't be abuse and there shouldn't be violence in the first place. And I think that I wouldn't encourage anyone who has been abused in any way, shape, or form to then reciprocate that by doing either the same thing or another thing, you know. I think altogether abuse should just be classified as wrong. It doesn't matter how you analyze the situation, whether the woman did this, whether the woman raised her mouth. A woman raising her mouth and abusing her husband at that point in time, that's abuse. Whether you're a man or a woman, even if the child in a family steps up and starts opening their mouth and abusing, and that's abuse. That is abuse. So there's no two ways around it. I don't think it's acceptable on any platform. However, what I will say is that if there is anyone in that situation, I would advise them to flee.
Yes.
Because to be honest, as if we think about this realistically, there are situations that you can find yourself in, and people are different. Some people have the fight instinct, and some people have the flight instinct. I would highly recommend the flight instinct. You know, that's what I would highly recommend. For me, that's natural because I don't like wahala at all. If you cause trouble with me, I'll just carry my bag and I will go. So you see on my profile where it says, if anyone causes trouble, I'll do this to them. I meant it. I will not do that because I am a walker. I am a walker. If I see that you're getting aggravated and whatever, I like my face too much, you know. That's the honest to God truth. Because I would hate to have to tell my sisters when they ask me, Amanda, what happened to your face? I don't want to lie and tell them that I fell down the stairs. I would rather walk away and keep my fine face and leave discussion for, you know, something else. So that's just me. Yeah, that's just me.
Okay. What about you, Rolo? What have you got to say?
For me, as much as we're giving out all these opinions and, you know, we're advising people to be empowered enough to leave, we have to be realistic because it's not as easy as it sounds. We can all sit here saying, "Oh, this is what should happen in this situation," blah, blah, blah. But sometimes until you find yourself in that situation, you really don't know what you're going to do. And I think the key thing here for me is not just to tell someone to leave, because ultimately, you know, that would be the key thing to do in any circumstance or situation where there is domestic violence. But I think it also depends on the nature of things. So say, for example, he doesn't hit you, but I don't know, he's starting to break stuff, or he's raising his voice and he's saying all this threatening language to you. Is that grounds to divorce, you know, your husband or your wife? Is that grounds to leave the relationship? I'm not so certain and confident that that's solid grounds to do that. I think there should be a step-by-step process before we reach, you know, that conclusion. I think that there needs to be some sort of like intervention. There needs to be like certain support networks or groups in the community, even if it's a family member that you're reaching out to resolve your issues. Because let's face it, we're all human, and I'm never in any way, and I'm not in any way justifying domestic violence. I just believe that there's different forms, as we've discussed. And I think, you know, in some cases there is hope. In some cases there is. And I think it also depends on the, you know, the partner or the person who's, you know, being violent. You know, how willing are they to, you know, correct their wrongs? How willing are they to show you that they, you know, what they did, they regret, and they're willing to change? I think that's important and a key thing to look out for and to listen to, because I'm not sure whether, you know, all the grounds of domestic violence warrants someone leaving. I don't necessarily agree with that, but I do think that, you know, we need to make sure that there is help and support out there, you know, in certain situations, as I said before, you know. So it's a good thing that we're doing this, because, you know, at the end of this, you know, live, you know, we are going to be providing some information on the sort of like help and advice that you can get, and we'll be showing some helplines and stuff. But that's what my view on it anyway, is that, you know, I don't believe that if, for example, you're arguing and let's say you break stuff, I don't believe that's grounds for leaving the relationship. I think it needs to be a case where you sit down with that individual, like your husband or your partner, and discuss what's happened, depending on his reaction or his response. If he's someone that's, you know, if he regrets doing what he's doing and he's willing to change, and you're seeing it in his action, not just in his words, but he's actually making the effort to say, you know what, babe, I don't know what happened there. Like, I just completely lost it. He didn't hit you. Don't get me wrong. The hitting part, I'm not condoning. But let's say he's like aggressive and he's violent and he's saying some nasty thing, because men and women do it, by the way. It's not just a man thing. I need to stress that, because a lot of the things that get highlighted when it comes to domestic violence is to do with men, you know, doing it to women, and women being the victims. It can happen in both sexes. Do you see what I'm saying? So we need to encourage people to, you know, first of all, notice the red flags, as even if it's just him, you know, trying to financially control you, or trying to, you know, just being aggressive and violent. We need to make sure that you're having a discussion to find out what is going on in your spouse's head. Is there a way to reason with him? Is there some hope in your relationship? If there is, and you feel, and also speak to somebody else, like someone you trust, because it might not be that you're in the right state of mind to judge, you know, is he regretful? Does he want to change? You might not be in the right state of mind because you're there all lovey-dovey. So it's always good to have someone that you can speak to, who can also give you advice, someone that you can trust, someone that you can look up to, that also is living by a good example, not just someone that's going to give you rubbish advice, but someone that's an upstanding citizen in the community or in your family. You know, go to them for support and advice and see what they say as well. And, you know, at the end of the day, you know, it should empower you enough to say, okay, you know what, based on all these red flags and based on what's happened, I think there's still hope for us. We can go together and seek help. But if it's a case where he's like, you know what, he's trying to make you out to be the victim, and like he's continually in this pattern, then obviously that's a serious cry for help. And I think the exit door should not be far away from that at all. I mean, that's before it even gets to that physical side. There's layers to this, you know, it's a step-by-step thing. No one just turns around one day and kills you. Do you see what I'm saying? There's always those red flags. And I think that each red flag needs to be addressed. Needs to be addressed, and support needs to be offered.
Yeah,
that's
I don't know if you picked up in the video as well, which I think was quite key. The woman found it hard to leave. She was defending her husband. You know, even when his family stood by her.
That really
you know, I would like Winnie Irvine touch on that.
Yeah, that's exactly. This is exactly what.
Why did she find it hard to leave? Why did she not want to leave? Why was she defending him, even when her family was there intervening? You know, and his attitude in front of her family had no fear, but she was still defending him.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead. Yeah.
The first thing I would say is check your emotions. Are you making excuses? Are you continuously making excuses? Oh, baby, I'm sorry. How many times are you going to accept that?
Baby, I'm sorry.
When have you reached your boundary?
I beg.
Yeah, there has to be a limit. There has to be.
And the situation is that, like I said before, it's a long, it happens over a long period of time. And it's not like intense, just like that. Like Ms. Roland said, that it's not that someone just goes ahead and kills somebody. No. What happens is that us humans, and in my opinion, especially people that have a big heart and a big capacity to love, is that we stick through the hard times to the point where the hard times, we normalize it.
Yeah.
We normalize
right.
Go say it. Say it.
Stress. We normalize feeling panic. But that's why I said, check your emotions. Are you making excuses? Are you making excuses for him? And if you are, then love yourself. Love yourself.
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you, the love.
Girls, we got to go to these comments.
That person, the love that you're trying to get from this person, you have that capacity within you totally. And once you love yourself, you would never ever allow someone to break that boundary that you keep putting in place, because what you're doing is every time he says I'm sorry and you accept that, what you're doing is you're pushing your boundaries even further from the person or the morals that you actually hold. So I'm all up for couples going to counseling, but I think that there are signs, especially in the early stages, where your emotions are not agreeing with you and you make excuses.
Yeah.
And what ends up happening is over the years, things don't change. You just got used to it, though.
Yeah, that's right. And like you said, let's go to the comments. A lot of people I notice they're talking about divorce. And I think a lot of people are talking about divorce because some people here in the comment section, which I can see, have experienced that. It took them a while to get to the point that they said, I'm going to divorce my spouse and leave. A lot of people I'm seeing are saying that they struggle because of people pleasing, people in the church pleasing, and their family as well that were telling them to stay because they don't want to bring disgrace to the family, or they don't want to bring disgrace to the church. And a lot of people had to endure in their marriages. I'm seeing some of these comments. They had to keep enduring because it took a lot for them to leave. They kept enduring because their family were telling them to stay. Thankfully, this woman's family intervened. But at what point did their family intervene? She must have had a lot of blows from what we can see and what we've heard and what we've read. She must have had a lot of blows before it got to the point that family said it's enough and it's enough. They now came to the house and forcefully removed her out, even though they couldn't save her or protect her at the end of the day. But I can see a lot of people in the comment have struggled with that. You know, they've been struggled because they've been misinformed, they've been misguided, they've been told that even if he slaps you once, you still have to cuckoo stay. That's what they say in my language. Anyway. Just stay. They say that, oh, he cheated on you, he's called you fat, he's called you a pig, he said you look big, you need to lose weight. He says you're not anymore.
This is not
abuse. And they're telling you
none of it is acceptable.
Marriage is hard. That's what you need to do. And it's
none of it is acceptable.
I think we should go through some of the comments, and like you said.
Let's go to the comments.
A lot of people have actually mentioned that I'm seeing as to, unfortunately, why they had to stay and they couldn't leave when they were supposed to leave. And it's such a shame.
But, I think all the reasons that you gave, like, you will disappoint the family or the church people will have something to say. So these are all fear-based, They're all fear-based. But this is what the relationship is grounded on. The foundation is fear. That's why you can't get out.
Yeah.
So everyone else's comments and things like that, or your place in society, whatever, are secondary to the actual fear you have in yourself about leaving your home. And it could be, and I understand this, believe me, I do.
Yeah.
It could be financial. You're afraid. How are you going to start your new life again? It could be that you're worried about your kids' well-being. Or am I going to take them out of their father's lives, for example?
Yeah.
Or it could be from an ego point of view, like, oh, how am I going to be viewed? But it's all fear, and that fear comes from the person that's actually abusing you. It's not your own internal fear. You're a strong person for being there just in itself, but that person has placed that fear in you.
Oh my God.
Yes. Okay.
So Amanda, like I said, I was just seeing some comments. Sorry, Levine, to intervene. This one struck me. We have to fly through some of these comments. They are really.
Please go ahead.
Someone said, Evelyn, my niece was shot dead or to death while 5 months pregnant. A jealous partner. So dangerous. Shot a 5-month pregnant wife. Someone said, we are specialized to accept certain types of aggressive behavior. That's Susan again. Thinking about the times we've discussed needing a man who can handle you or manage you. It encourages men to behave in certain ways. Sometimes soft-spoken men are seen as weak and undesirable partners.
Let me just come in with this one from Linda Pierre, my sister. Hi. Here in my nation, a pastor says he will not welcome divorced couples. He will not welcome divorced couples.
Wow. Wow. And that goes in line with Sophie's question. Can a Christian remarry? Unfortunately, that's the sad case in Christianity. And I think that's where a lot of people have struggled because they don't know, if they should follow what the pastor says, or they should follow what the Bible says. And unfortunately, there is not really a black and white page when it comes to the Bible saying that you can divorce because of domestic violence. Yes, it says because of sexual morality, whatever, perversion or cheating or adultery. Yes, we can see that point blank, but I think where unfortunately it's become a bit controversial and people are a bit confused is because it actually hasn't said you can leave your spouse because of abuse, you know. But obviously, me being one of the leaders as well, and many other leaders, we will encourage. We're not going to encourage you to die in your marriage before you leave, because at the end of the day, you're dead, you're dead. People will mourn and move on with their life. You can't come and kill yourself. I don't know why certain pastors will say that because you're now divorced, you cannot remarry. You know, it's an ongoing topic. And I know I think that's a lot of things that people struggle with, that if I leave this spouse, would I be able to move on with another? Am I allowed to remarry as a Christian person? I don't see why not, you know.
Exactly. And let me just cut in there very quickly, because the comments really are popping off, and we want to encourage you guys. Thank you first of all so much for being open and honest with us. A lot of you have told us personal things about yourself and about your family. It really is helpful, because it is gonna help someone one day to identify these red flags before they're too late. So Crystal Brown has said, okay, yep. So Crystal Brown has said, my husband burned my apartment down to the ground because he could not handle me providing for myself and not taking his abuse.
Wow.
Real life. This is real life. This stuff is not being made up. It's not being made up. I knew my life would be ending soon when he said he would move me halfway across the country, build a house with high walls and padlock it, so I could not go out. Controlling behavior. It's so important, and it's something I've said to people before, that sometimes the goal for the controlling person is to isolate you. They isolate you, especially when they see that you're a strong character and that you have family around you. You've got a strong unit. Sometimes the goal is to isolate you so they can carry on with their agenda. And as someone already said, be so careful, because if anything happens to you, that person will now move on and find another person. Ladies, please, even men, don't do it to yourself. It is not worth it. Do not care about whether people classify you as a divorcee or this or that. Whatever people label you as doesn't matter, as long as you have your life at the end of the day. Because I tell you this now, there was something that my mum used to say to me when I was growing up and going through my adolescent years. Not that I was a bad child, by the way, I'll just put that out there. But she used to say that wherever we go and whatever we do, we need to be so careful, because life can go just like that. And when life does go, the sun will still rise and set. Everyone will still go to work. People will still continue with their lives. Like, they can mourn for a few days or for whenever for you, but people will still carry on with their life. So let's be careful. Let's really be careful.
Yeah. And I'm just really glad that we're discussing this. People are being, like you said, open and honest in the comments. You know, the comments are coming thick and fast.
Yeah, they really are. Thank you guys so much.
I'm seeing a lot of openness here. And if people are actually following and engaging in this live and reading some people's comments and stories, you would actually see that, wow, this person actually went so far to this point. They actually stayed this long. They actually endured so much. Why, like I've asked earlier, why could that person not have left that person sooner? Why did it have to get so bad? You know, ladies, especially those that are upcoming, especially those that are single, those that are even divorced, thank God, you know, your eyes are open. You know that when you're going to marry again, what you're not going to tolerate, what you're not going to take anymore. You know, you're going to know the point to leave. You're going to know the kind of person you need to look out for, and the traits, and indeed the red flags that we discussed before you enter in that marriage. But unfortunately, sometimes red flags are not shown before you enter in the marriage. Sometimes people do enter marriage and it started off happy.
I don't believe that. Sorry, I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I believe that God always shows us red flags, but we choose to ignore them. And this is why it's important to highlight and to let people know what those red flags could be. They're always there from the beginning. I'm telling you, they're always there. It's just that as women or as men and as, you know, people, when emotions are involved, it's harder to see. Your vision is blurred because you're now thinking with your emotions rather than your head. The red flags are always there. You know, they always are there. Trust me on that one, man. They are. This woman, there were flags there from the beginning. This woman we're talking about, oh God, God rest her soul. The red flags were there. You could hear her brother, what he's saying to her, that, you know, how many times has we beaten you? We've been telling you to leave. Did you hear the threat made on your life? All those were red flags up until that point when that guy, you know, promised the husband, the brother, that I'm gonna, if I'm a fake pastor, or, you know, if I'm gonna kill your wife to show that I'm not a fake pastor. That was the last and final red flag, you know. That was it. But unfortunately for her, it was too late. Unfortunately for her, but the red flag. If I can even look back at my own experience and experiences of others who may have gone through domestic violence, the red flags were always there. And the controlling nature always comes out first. Before he starts hitting you and slapping you, the control element comes out first. Yeah. Definitely. They want to know where you're going. They want to know what time you're coming back. The next thing you know, there's 500 people on the phone. Do you see what I'm saying? Those are all red flags that we cannot ignore. Do you understand? Oh, okay, I called you 5,000 times. You pick up. Why are you calling me 5,000 times in the first place anyway? 5,000 times. That's a bit extreme. There's always extremities there, you know, that we cannot ignore. They're always there.
But I used to, you know, because it's good to have an opposing opinion, and I used to have that opinion as well, even though I kind of still do, that when you the red flags are usually seen, even if it's in the littlest, you always see that this person is capable of domestic violence. But I'm still going to stand on the other side and say I don't believe, and some people might agree with me in the comments, agree with me, guys. I don't believe that you always see the red flag, at the beginning. And then maybe we should discuss what are necessarily these red flags.
Exactly.
Because
that's a good question.
People have gone through things, and I don't believe that they entered marriage blindly, or they did not see certain things, and because of their emotions, they just went inside. Like the anger elements, I don't believe that a guy would always show that at the beginning, because obviously a relationship will have flaws and you have to work on certain things. Nobody comes as a perfect package, nor does the woman, nor does the man. So there is some few things that you will overlook, but we're talking about what other things that you would overlook that would show traits of domestic violence. You understand what I'm saying? Like me, I am married, you know, and anything could, God forbid, if anything was to happen in the future, am I going to say that I didn't see the red flags before? Probably not, because I believe that some people would have married and it was fine in their courtship, it was fine at the beginning, but maybe 18 years, 16 years down the line, the person became somebody completely different. I don't believe that people would always have or would have had red flags, because had that been the case, then there'll be fewer problems in marriages. That's for sure.
I have to disagree. I have to disagree. And I'm going to disagree based on this. Now, let me just say what I'm saying, because this again is personal. It's not based on anyone's specific life. It's just my personal opinion. I like to think I have a good heart, you know, and I'm very, very forgiving. So if someone wrongs me, I'm the last person that you would see writing someone off. And that's okay. That's a good thing. That's a Christian thing. That's a lovely thing. But it doesn't always work in your favor, because I'll tell you now, I believe, and I'm sure some other people can agree with me, that because of that nature, I've been taken advantage of quite a few times. But, you know, having noticed that and having been able to identify that, I'd say that life has taught me that, okay, at some point I've learned when to draw the line. So it's not that I didn't notice these behaviors in individuals before. It's not that I didn't notice them. It's just that I was able to forgive and move on, or forgive and try and move on, you know. And I think that that's one of the things that we really need to think about and address as well, because it's okay to be good. It's okay to be forgiven. But when someone is a threat to your life, and I think Apostle Oscar commented earlier before, thank you for joining the call, Apostle Oscar. We are honored to have you on the call. He says, if you are in an abusive relationship, you don't leave, you run for your life, run from that loser. And I know it is, we have discussed today that it is hard. It's not as simple as just, you know, I'm going to go, and that's it. It isn't. But you have to, you know, when you start noticing the signs of abuse, because it's true, someone doesn't just wake up in the morning when he's not, unless he's a psychopath, you know, you don't just wake up in the morning and think, oh, I'm going to stab, yank. It doesn't happen like that, you know, so there are red flags, but the truth is, again, this is, and again, this is my opinion. we choose to forgive and we choose to move on, and that's okay, you know. But when it becomes an issue where it's a threat to your life, even, and I've said this before, some people don't agree with this, but I'm going to say it, even as a Christian, separation is sometimes okay, you know. Sometimes it's okay to just separate, just to separate and see, you know, because divorce may not always be the answer straight away, but sometimes just to be apart for a while, because we don't know what's caused this sudden behavior, if we want to call it sudden, you know. So over to the next person, because we've got 5 minutes. Let's move on. Who else?
That choice. A lot of women don't have that choice to separate. So I just want to highlight that when they really are in an abusive relationship, separation is not an option for them. The second thing I would like to say is when it says, oh, there's some signs, you know, that you should know that there's some red flags, things like that. Yeah, they are. There are red flags, but they're not the red flags that you think. The red flags are when a woman is given so much love and this high level courtship in the beginning, because what ends up happening is that they're going through a grooming phase and they don't even know it. And I'm actually saying this, and I'm saying it with a lot of passion, because I'm somebody that actually experienced it. The women that go through this, they're not people that they're not stupid. In fact, most of the time they're actually quite intelligent women that have very, very good careers, for example, or very good education.
That's right.
Behind them.
Right.
So the red flags are a guy is overflowing or going over the top of showing them love and an emotion. That what ends up happening is that they become dependent on it. And when I say dependent on it, what I mean is that they truly believe that this guy is the love of their life. And another thing I will highlight is that.
Sorry, I'm going to throw in. You know what your comment reminds me of? Sorry to cut in. It reminds me of when people particularly say that the man should love you more than the woman should love the man.
There you go.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
And another point I will say is that people should not ignore the stats that are out there. And the stats are that most people that are in domestic violence relationships, women, are between the ages of 16 and 25. So let's put that into perspective. That's most of the time the very first relationship that they've ever been in. They don't know what a relationship should be like, should look like.
A healthy relationship, right?
Exactly. And most of the times is that because of the love and the grooming that's happened so early in the beginning phases, they hold on to that ideal, even when everything else goes wrong. And when we say to ourselves, okay, why don't you leave? You know, you can just shut off, you can just have separation time. But they've gone so far down the line with this guy, and the psychological aspect has gone on for so long that they don't understand that it's not normal to not have time apart with your partner. And sometimes, even out of fear, they don't know how to leave. They don't. And so my personal advice, if I was to give advice to any girl that's going through it right now, is just have time away, book a holiday with your family just for 2 weeks. Not with the guy. Not with the guy. Because you know what? Once you're away for 2 weeks, I'm not saying leave him. I'm saying just book a holiday away. Because in that
that's if he'll let you, bro. That's if he'll let you.
A lot will
Some people can't even book a damn holiday because they're so, you know, they're so threatened. They're so imprisoned in their environment with that relationship. You know, this thing is as much as we, you know, the end goal is to leave. It's so complex, and that's why I'm glad that at the end of this show, we are going to provide some resources and tools to help to provide that information to enable you to know what to do and how to do it. Because I think that's the most important thing that's lacking here is that education that's needed to empower people who are victims in these circumstances. That is what is lacking, and why it's so rampant and it's increasing in our community and elsewhere is the education and the you know, the information to empower one to make the right decision when and how to leave. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
And then just before. Yeah, go on. And I'll just say something. Go on.
No, I was going to say that this
Oh, time's
girls,
up.
girls say it is
No, no,
a free
bonus
and
time,
safe
bonus
space.
time. Yes.
Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
It's a safe space for us to talk. It's without
Right.
judgment. You know, we're going to give our own personal experiences. So
Mm.
this is actually one of the first steps that I could advise is actually coming onto a forum. I'm not necessarily saying ours, but I'm just saying go to a forum where it's a safe space for you to talk, because talking is the first step.
Yes.
Thank you for
Right.
that, Winnie. To be honest, guys, we call our show the 60 Minutes Live Show. But because the topic I can see is very sensitive, we've
Very
still got
hot.
quite a few of you, quite a number of people online. I think we need to extend the time a little bit. Otherwise, people will be like, that's too short. How can you just drop us back out in the ocean? That we did not tackle this enough. So I think
I think another 10 minutes should be fine, definitely, right? I think 10 minutes should be able to wrap things up, right?
Yeah. And we will do more videos. We will do more.
You'll see.
Yeah, there will be a part 2 if necessary. If necessary, then will be a part 2 to this.
Yeah. But at the moment, the comments are really thriving in, and to be honest, we can't leave people hanging. So we need to address some things. I mean, I liked what Elizabeth has put here. I mean, how do we help these people that are actually, how do we help these people because there are so many broken people in the world getting into marriages and birthing kids. So how do we actually help them? I think one of the root things that we have discussed today, and I think we need to break it down a bit more, is the person that is actually going to enter into marriage. What should they be looking out for? What is a no? What is a no? Do not have this. This one is a no, do not enter. Because before you were talking about red flag, I'm still backing myself against the wall with that one, because I don't feel like people always show their true colors at the beginning.
I think we need to be clear on that. That's what it is. Yeah.
For the benefit of doubt for people that do support red flags. Okay, what are the red flags that if they've seen that relationship, or if they're going to give it another try, what is a no-go in a relationship?
Right, exactly.
That's the main way I feel that we might be able to help somebody here. What is it that they should be looking out for their relationship and saying, I am not going to go there. Do not marry this person because of this. Or do not go there with this relationship because of this. What are the red flags? You guys that have been supporting red flags, because I'm the only one on the other side. What are the red flags that is a no-no, that are not so obvious and that are obvious?
Look, the comments are saying it out. Look at the comments.
Yeah,
the comments are there
already. And I think,
look, calling you out your name, cursing at you. These things don't just happen when you put the ring on your finger after you consummate
being overly aggressive or being overly violent.
Wow.
There's things like, for example, you could be arguing with him about something really simple, like something really trivial. Are you going to wash the plates today? No, I'm not. But I washed it yesterday. You hardly ever wash the plates. You think because I'm a woman, it's my job to be domesticated. What about you? And he just flips and smashes a cup. Hello? Hello? He goes from 0 to 100 real quick. That's like a sign of aggression that's unnecessary and unwarranted. And another thing is controlling. Like, for example, okay, you're saying you're going out with the girls. He knows exactly where you're going. He knows who you're going with. But at the end of the night, when you're on your way home, you see that it's giving you 10,000 calls, missed calls. Why?
Yeah, even someone
and you told him what time you're coming home as well. These are the kind of red flags I'm talking about.
Flirting around. Now, it may seem like a trivial one or one that's not a big deal, but it is a big deal, because when your dude has the audacity to flirt around like you're not even there, that's one of the biggest forms of disrespect. How are you going to be flirting around, especially if it's when I'm there?
Yes.
And
when you challenge him now, you don't get it. Well,
that's when you now see another side as well. And when
I don't think it directly or cleanly into that bracket of what we're saying is red flags of domestic abuse, because anybody can flirt around, and it could be unintentional. It could just be like someone's just has a flirtatious nature. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, women do it, men do it, but obviously it may not be.
But when it's in a marriage or a relationship, I'm not sure. I mean, this sounds like it's going to be another discussion. I'll say this sounds like it's going to be a topic for another discussion.
I think you're right. Let's leave it at that.
This is a lot.
That one's a bit of a tricky one. It's a bit of a tricky one. Yeah.
We definitely have to go there with that one. The next one. But guys, comments. There's a lot.
Yes,
there's a lot. Sorry, Vinny. I just need to go through some comments.
For me, some of the red flags are when your relationship starts. Is it intense? Like, is it overly intense where you don't even have room to breathe? Even if he's
that controlling part.
showering you with love, is it intense?
Over
Because
the
for
top.
me, that's a
Over
red
the top.
flag. And second thing is he guilt tripping you? Does he guilt trip you for
That's
going
a
out with
good
your
one.
friends? Does he make you feel
Right,
bad about it? Or
Yeah.
by what you wear or wearing makeup, does he make you feel
Yeah.
guilty? Because guilt is a huge thing in these types
Right.
of relationships.
Yeah.
So to me, I would say those are the two biggest ones.
Yep.
Right.
Right, guys. Let me
Oh my gosh. Sorry, before you, one more.
Read the
Being
comments.
angry when you spend any time with your friends or family, but masking it as he just wants to be with you all the time,
Right.
trying to keep you to
You
himself.
Exactly.
If you were a girl, I would say, girl, say it. But we're gonna say, boy, say it, or man, say it, dude, say it, bro, say it. Come on now.
Yeah.
Come on.
Let's get some more comments. Let's get some more comments.
Right, there's a lot of comments. Okay, Roxana Bailey. I'm still suffering from my narcissistic ex. I put him in prison, but now he's out. He's still harassing me, even though I have a 10-year restraining order. What you guys are doing is really helping us. Thank
We're
you.
happy to hear that.
You know,
We're happy to hear that.
Elizabeth said, if he shouts at you on a regular basis, you better run. My husband said, men will hide their dysfunction for as long as it takes. You don't underestimate a man's patience until he says, I do. They will cleverly hide their narcissistic and paranoia behavior so well that they will almost pay obedience to them as Prince Charming. Ladies, you will not always see the signs of red flags until you officially become Mrs. Schizophrenia.
Child.
You those or these things. Red flags, no apology. Someone said being overly affectionate on first meeting them. It's not. It's a sign.
Yeah, that's a bit weird. I find that weird. I find that weird. Overly affectionate, in such a short space of time.
Ingrid said, Ingrid said, getting vexed if you don't answer their text straight away. Come on.
Come on. That's red flag central right there. Thank you, sis Ingrid. Girl, say it.
There's a lot of truth. There's a lot of truth coming out.
It will turn to beating. If he pushes you when you're arguing, it will turn to beating. Okay. Latoya, if the person has a prior spouse with a protection order, that's a red flag. Wow.
Oh my, yes, that's a red flag. That's a red hole. That's a red hole something right there.
That's a whole red big flag. Mega flag. Mega size flag.
Yeah, Roxana Bailey. Red
That's a flare.
Telling you to stop complaining. Someone said.
That's a big one. That's a big one. You know why?
But some of you women complain, though. Some of you complain very well.
Some of you are just mourners.
Depends on what it is.
One needs to be called out. You know why? Because you have a standard, right? You have standard, and the person is making you erode your standards. That's you moving your boundary. So I think, I agree that in certain cases, people can complain, men and women can complain in their relationship because they're not satisfied. But when someone is constantly telling you, or not validating rather, your feelings and your emotions, I'm sorry, that's a red flag. That's a red flag.
Someone told me once, Evelina, someone told me once, I'm really trying not to hit you and moving his hand towards my head. I love my face. I love my face. Amanda, you started a new quote. I love my face.
It's true though.
I love my face.
I love my face.
It's better to be single than ending up in an abusive marriage. That's right, of course. Of course. It's better, the saying says, it's better a broken engagement than a broken marriage. Yes.
Right. It's easier to get out.
That's right. It's easier to get
out. And then it's better a broken marriage than a coffin. Let me tell you that one now.
Oh, yeah. All right. Manipulative behavior, inability to take responsibility, disrespectful behavior, anger issues, isolation, demands, lack of commitment. is also red flag. All of that list.
Right. So there's a lot there. There's a lot there.
Linda said he wants to see you every day. Linda Pierre, he wants to see you every day. And poor girl would say, "Oh, he is so in love." That's the red flag.
Ah, that's true. Yep. Yeah, that one is
obsessive and compulsive behaviors. Yeah, we're spilling some tea today. These are all the red flags we're talking about. There's loads of them, and I think it's a good thing to listen and put all that information at the end of this video. You know, on our page, we're going to have all this information up there because it's something that really needs to be, you know, put out there into the community.
That's
Definitely.
Right. That's right.
Guys,
so we got to wrap it up, ladies. We got to wrap this up. We need to do a part 2, though. Yeah. We must have a part 2.
Definitely.
So just
point from me.
Comments.
Oh, go ahead.
Just a final point from me. Just connecting to Miss Rolo about the information being on our page. It's not just about information. It's not just about, you know, what are the red flags. It's also about looking for numbers that can help you. We're going to provide domestic abuse helplines on our Facebook page. So please just check it out. And if you don't think that you're being a Karen, you're not. If you think someone is going through something or suffering from domestic violence in their home, just reach out to them. Reach out to them when you get a chance to, you know, be alone with them. And don't push them into seeing your point of view, but just speak to them, sister to sister, woman to woman, woman to man, whoever it is.
Okay. Can I just say something? You know, some people have touched on.
You don't want to go.
Let me just bring this
one. Wrap this up, ladies.
Someone said red flag. Someone said red flag. How he treats his mom. So many red. I don't understand. Yep. And the only reason why I picked that is because another person said the same thing as well. I don't know. People are just flying through the comments. Aggressive towards other people. Oh God. A man that is just too good to be true. He's too perfect. Is a red flag? Is that true?
Yeah,
that's
could be. I guess it could be.
Someone said my ex-hubby was
just to be cautious. Cautious. That's why.
My ex-hubby was so mean to me, yet extra sweet to his mom. And so when people are saying yes for the part 2, my dad and brothers would never allow a man to hit me. Okay, girl, yes. I should think I should think my brother and my dad were
You got your soldiers there to protect you. This we all had them.
Okay, so ladies and men and everybody on this live, thank you for sharing. Make sure you follow our page at Girls Say It on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube. This is the beginning of many great topics and live shows to come. It's supposed to be the 60-minute live show, but because everybody was just throwing in those comments, we had to be extra nice and engaged.
We love you guys.
We want you to be engaged. That's the whole point. And share this. Bring out the awareness. Let other women see what, you know, and learn from each other, you know, as we're talking from experiences, from our viewpoints, whatever it is. It's Girls Say It's all about the girl's opinion counts. A girl's voice counts. And the more we start putting it out there in our communities, in our societies, making it the awareness out there really shine, then some people will definitely know that they need to draw the line now and get out sooner rather than later, or rather enter into relationships, enter into marriages that are valuable because you value yourself and you love yourself equally. So thank you guys once again. This is the 4 minutes, 4 sisters. Come on, all my sisters with me. More to come. We are family. So yeah, there'll be more of this to come. Thank you so much for engaging. We really hope you were blessed by it and touched by it and really got something out of this. And those that said that it has helped them, just being able to discuss and have forums like this. Yes, like Rolo said earlier, any feedback you want to give us, please DM. You can DM us or drop us in Messenger. Please don't put it on our page if you think it was whack. Everybody
always we welcome all your feedback. We welcome all your feedback.
And we want to grow. We want to do better. We want to do more. And we want to do better. And we don't just want it to be another discussion. We want to be able to help you guys where we can as well. So we're going to have a section for that as well, where it's ask questions. How can we help you as well? You know, this is all free, all available to you. And all the women, all the men, hopefully are going to learn from this. So thank you so much. Really, really
Thank you
appreciate
so
it.
much. We love you guys.
How did we do?
Appreciate you.
Thank
God
you,
bless.
Bye bye. Have a good evening. We love you all. Bye.
Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe.
Yes, please follow. Bye bye.
And make sure you use the word girl. Say it.
Say it.
Say it.